Why have we been conditioned our whole lives to fear failure? Grade school taught us to fear failure. Other people have taught us to fear failure. Even someone you know has taught us to fear failure. The reason why they want us to fear failure, because if we don't follow the typical roadmap that society expects us to follow, we'll not only fail, but we'll make a mess out of our lives that will be impossible to climb out of. And ultimately, we're not going to feel happy and fulfilled, and we're going to feel like a nobody. Looking back at different times of my life, dating all the way back to high school, I had this ambition to become a singer, dancer, or an actor in the performing arts field. I spent the majority of my high school years pursuing that. What ultimately led me to leaving that altogether was seeing the grim reality of what it actually took to become the best of the best in the industry, all the competition that I would have to face, and I found myself more stressed out than actually enjoying it. And I felt like this isn't where I'm meant to be. So I left that altogether and decided to move on to something else. In the middle of my high school senior year, I developed this passion for helping others gain clarity and offering guidance in their lives about different problems that they have, that they experience. And I wanted to do something that pertains to that. So I decided to become an online volunteer for teenagers in need of guidance and support on the problems that they face in their everyday life. A lot of it being personal. So I spent 4 years doing that type of work. And I ultimately decided to move on from it because of a couple of things. Number one, there were some people that not only did not like what I said, but they went so far as to verbally bully, attack, and crucify me on one of the posts that I was sharing out to people on that website that I believed would gain a lot of clarity on what I said in that post. And I was getting crucified to the bone, and it made me feel like I needed to start looking at this entirely in a different light. And I saw the ugly side of that website, which was a lot of the teenagers that go on that website, even the ones that are in their young adult years, they don't go to look for answers. They go to complain, vent, and just basically start a negativity party. I didn't want to be a part of that. I had this passion for helping others gain the clarity that they seek so that they can solve their problem or problems that they're having in their lives, thus ultimately improving them. But I saw that the majority weren't interested in that. And it became noticeably a toxic environment where I just felt like I was pushing against a huge tide of ocean, and it just felt like I wasn't valued and appreciated on there. So I left and I decided to move on to something else. Right about that time, I was working in the food industry for 3 years. I held two different jobs, so I spent 1.5 years at a restaurant type of job, and then I was a food worker in a hotel for about a year and a half almost. What I learned from having both of those jobs, I noticed I didn't want to be working in that setting for the rest of my life. Hence why you're often encouraged to go to college, get a degree, to get a good job so that you can be set for life, so that you can do what you want. Unfortunately, it isn't like what we're told. So I saw the ugly side of working in corporate America, and I decided I didn't want to work that kind of job for the rest of my life, answering to somebody that basically doesn't care about you, that just sees you as expendable and just a number. So I decided to spend the majority of my 20s exploring different areas. Now, this came at a time when I was in community college, and when I found out from my counselor that I was graduating a semester early, not only did I miss the deadline to apply to the university of my choosing, but it was going to be very hard to be able to transfer to a four-year university doing a career field in psychology. Now, I have a high honors associate's degree in psychology, but I didn't like the career fields that were in psychology. None of them really resonated with me, and ultimately, I just felt like it wasn't a space where I can show off my uniqueness there. So, because I had no money to invest into transferring to a four-year university, which was going to be a minimum of 30 grand or more, because I do remember those times when I got some calls from different universities and then they were going over it with me on the phone, the different options I had, and they all were basically the same, that I would have to end up taking out student loans, which I was not liking that idea. So I ultimately decided after I graduated community college to discontinue, not go to a four-year university, and that sprouted backlash from my family. But ultimately, that didn't matter. I knew that this is the time to go out and explore what matters to you, what you care about, what you're passionate about. And that's exactly what I was doing ever since high school. Just when I think I have my mind set on this being what I do for the rest of my life, it ends up being something else. And we're often faced with that outside pressure. We're often faced with the need that once you go to college and then once you get your degree, that's the time that you have to have everything figured out. But the truth of the matter is, you're not going to have everything figured out. There are some things in my life right now, to this day, that I still don't have figured out. And that's okay, because everybody's timing is going to be different. So after I decided to leave community college, I went out exploring different career fields, and I came across doing caregiving. So I did that for the next 5 years. And while it was good, it was definitely stressful. And, the one thing about being a caregiver is you deal with a lot of clients that stress you out. And then when you see something wrong and you want to discuss it as diplomatic as possible, and you be kind about it, oftentimes you get verbally bullied and even threatened into silence if you say anything. And it's just a lot of the stuff that I was seeing working with different families really was bringing a toll on me emotionally and mentally. And I remember there were so many days that I came home just overly exhausted and burned out. And sometimes even I felt sad because of all the things that I saw, and just feeling powerless to do anything about it. Ultimately, I decided to just leave caregiving and venture onto something else. Right before the time that I came across caregiving, I found affiliate marketing. It was directly right after I graduated community college, and I would be spending my time doing that over the next 9 years. Now, long story short, I did write about it in my Substack publication, which is a post which I'll link below this video, and you can go take a look at. You can go ahead and read that on your own time. But long story short, I was convinced that that's the industry that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in. I thought I was passionate about it like I thought I was, but after looking at a lot of my content that I did in previous years during that time, I realized that I'm not as passionate about it like I thought I was. And when I saw the direction that the industry was going in, that also turned me off as well. Not only that, but a lot of the times when people call something a scam, I wasn't entirely understanding what they actually meant by that. And it wasn't until that from looking at my own personal experience and from looking at some of the things that people were saying with an honest, unbiased lens, I ended up seeing something very different that I didn't see when I first joined. So I could go into detail about it, but long story short, it's not what it's made out to be. Whatever you hear these so-called leaders tell you on video, it's not what it's made up to be. I can tell you that from the years that I was in that industry, and I didn't know any better then. I mean, it was disheartening for me to discover that. And yeah, I will be transparent about it that there is some money that I did end up losing, but it wasn't so terrible. And it wasn't a complete waste either. The good things that I did gain from being in the affiliate marketing space was the chance to actually get to travel out of state for the first time, which I was 22 years old that time when I did that. So that experience was very special for me. I also acquired skills that I am now carrying with me into what I'm doing now. And it wasn't a complete waste, and at least I got to see things for what they are in that industry. So when I decided to quit affiliate marketing, I decided to pursue writing and vlogging. And that's where I'm at right now. I had never intended that this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. But as someone wise once told me, you can't always plan for everything. And that's okay. It's okay that you don't plan for everything. And sometimes that's the hidden beauty behind it, because it gives life a mystery. It's okay that it doesn't go your way, because if it went your way all the time, every time, there's a very good chance that life would be boring. And if life is boring, then what is the point of living it? I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. You just have all this certainty. And that's what a lot of people boil it down to. The reason why they're afraid of failure and the reason why they do what's considered safe and what most people go after, because they want certainty. But because people value certainty more than variety, that's why their lives are so boring. And that's why I'm telling you from my personal experience and having shared with you the different moments of my life that have led me up to this point, each of those were just a stepping stone to get me closer to where I'm meant to be. And sometimes you're not going to know where you're meant to be until you explore, until you summon the courage to actually go after doing different things and discovering what is it that you care about. You can't figure out what you care about unless you go out and explore. You get exposed to the things that you like and the things that you don't like, the things that are for you, the things that are not for you. You can't be afraid of failure. No matter what grade school or other people may have taught you, you can't be afraid of that. I know that now, being 30 years old, and I'm not worried about it anymore because I know deep down that I'm staying true to me, and that's what matters. And what matters on top of that is that you're happy. Staying somewhere where you're just only pleasing other people won't make you happy and fulfilled. Now, you may have heard that from different people throughout the years, but it's true. If you stay somewhere where you're underappreciated, undervalued, and you're unhappy, you'll be miserable for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. You can make a ton of money doing it. You can be, a part of something, like you don't feel like you're alone, but it's not going to matter if you're not happy there. And I was spending a lot of last year just asking myself, um, where is it that I want to be at? What do I want to do? What is something that I care about? And I spent a lot of time figuring that out because I was doing different things. And when I realized that affiliate marketing was just not going to work out for me after everything that I gave it, I realized that, you know what? I got to stay true to me. I know there are people that will have different experiences, much different than mine. But at the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself what is best for you. And the best thing that you can also do on top of that is stay true to you. Because that is what I do for myself so that I can sleep better at night knowing that I'm doing everything I possibly can. And that's what you got to tell yourself too. You're doing everything that you possibly can. And at this very moment in time, that is more than enough. Thanks for watching this video. If you resonated with what I said here today, consider becoming a regular supporter. You can subscribe to this video channel, and you can also subscribe to my Substack publication where I have all the details about how you can become a regular supporter. With that said, until another day, at another time, take care, and all the absolute best.